those things. Lighting upgrades, a bright place like here. I had a group here this weekend and they came in and said, this is amazing. And I thought to myself, well, what's amazing about it? Because I come in here every day, right? But it's brighter. We have the screens. It's changed since some people have been here. So it's a nice space. And we're saying that, so sometimes you do need to change the space to change the conditions. You just have to change the space. That's a hard concept because I may be taking something away from you, but it's okay if we're headed all in the same direction. So really proud of the work going on in the Buildings and Grounds Department to get that done. You can see our other goals. We're 100% complete and already creating new goals around finance. We're working really hard to try to be better every day about how we spend, making sure the money matches the student and or the staff and or the curriculum and or PE and or sports and or arts, all of those things. We want to put every dollar into those spaces, find out the things that aren't working. So a lot of good happening in the finance around Goal 5. Human resources, we have shifted in human resources, as you know, and we're working with that team there to attract talent, retain talent, and grow talent. That's work because you always have to stay on top of that. The minute you hire 10 people, 2 will decide there's a better opportunity somewhere. So we don't look at it that way. We say we hired 10 people. And so we want 10 good people who will stay with us. We're working with our partners and our associations to do all that we can to make sure they're comfortable being here. And that takes work. It's a moving target. Every time you think you settle it, we have to go back to some strategy to make sure we retain people, keep good people, and work with our teams to grow together. On July 1st, we had hired 136 new employees. I think that if you look at board agendas since July 31st, we had a lot on this one, a lot on the last one, just different people. So that was as of July. That was just one of our goals, to hire good people and hire them in large numbers, do our best to retain them. But you can see traditional methods don't work. You can see I actually put James and Jane to work on the bottom screen there. Finally got them to do some work in here. So, but a really good compilation of how we do the job fairs and those types of things. So, and then we have partnerships with some Rider University and I Teach, trying to grow and train, and we work closely with individuals who want to become certified as teachers. And I think in our next presentation, I would love for the team to gather the numbers of people who did not start certified, who became certified and are now working in district, because we are seeing more and more of those, as other districts are having to do too, because there's a shortage of professional staff, and there will likely be in the coming years. And so we have to be strategic in doing that, unless the state releases or lifts some of the restrictions to bring people on, and we don't see that happening in the near future. And then if Pablo was here, we would tell him, just keep it simple, because as he speaks tech language, but you can see amazing work behind the scenes. That's what helps everything run, and we're working because we've had internet outages often, and we're finding out there are a ton of things that, as much as we've done, that we didn't do. We're trying to send this semi-truck through a straw, and so we need to shift that to make sure there's space for all this information, all 25 schools, a district office, and buildings and grounds, and all of the spaces here can move information in technology. We're also trying to keep it safe. They're trying to reduce time if you put a help desk ticket in. We have a system that moves that information faster. So our team's working really hard under the new leadership of Mr. Samuel, and he's working to make sure that we have standard SOPs in place to move our business and move it the right way. So you see a couple of things, his goals, He's put up several training videos, 14 to be exact. If you know Mr. Samuel, he gets it done immediately, focused like a tech person would be. They take care of business, and he puts information out there, and we're trying to drive traffic so that if anyone needs training in an area about how to use a particular system, that they can see it from him. And anyway, we'll take recommendations. I think he's working on a way to get surveys out to staff to say, what would you like to know about how to operate? A lot around Apple, a lot around Power School and those types of things, because those are the things we use the most. You can see the stream technology rollouts. We actually deployed 21,000 iPads this year, along with teacher devices. So it was a huge undertaking because he came in July, and that was already in place. And I was in charge, so I'll let you know I didn't do a good job before he came in, but he was able to sustain that and move it forward. So we're now up and operational. It's our intent to have good practice in place around our technology, the security of our technology, and how we enhance the network to make sure we have a free flowing of information in the coming days and years. And I think that's it for questions. I know I went fast, but I know you'll have questions, or we talk about this all the time. I wanted to share with the public. We're always available. If you want a topic, we can go into any topic for a long period of time. No one wants to listen, I'm sure, but if you have questions, I will take those.
So I have one statement, and then I have a question.
Sure.
So this presentation was excellent. I really appreciate it. I noticed a couple of things. There were the differentiated learning when you talked about how the children are learning where they are.
Yeah.
I was really excited about that. So
Great.
now for my question, so thank you. You mentioned earlier testing conditions, and by testing conditions, the work that you're doing around that helps our students to be prepared when they have to take these state tests. So will that work bear fruit in that environment? Are you trying to simulate the environment so that they feel more comfortable? Because sometimes children feel uncomfortable in those environments. So that's the first question.
Yep.
And then the last one was, and not as much of a question as another statement. I heard early on about the educational leadership, the work that's going on with the leaders in the schools, which is very critical because succession planning rolls around that too. So good job.
So we're hopeful to be very intentional about your first question. Intentional about making sure, you asked me 3 questions, so testing conditions. So what we realized is we were out in schools and we learned some things, or I would get a call about a testing condition that was not the best condition for children. And I could cite a few, but that would take a long time and a lot of emotion, I want you to know. And we said that we would no longer just assume that the conditions were good. We're going to check it, see it, teach it, so it should yield good fruit on the back end. If we have a quiet space, if the student's technology works, because everything is web-based now, if the technology works and we can work with families, get the student rest. You think about all the things that go into being in front of a test. And we also have to know that you have to teach that stamina, and that comes from student agency, because when a student owns their learning or owns their testing, there's no effort in it. The things you own, you do because they're yours. And so there's so many things that we have to correct. We realize, okay, so we don't know, because when we go in our schools and in our classrooms with our teachers, we still see students learning. They write, they communicate, they can collaborate, they do all the things that we believe should be available in any high-level classroom. So why is that not transferring? So we just said, maybe it's testing conditions. We're not saying they're bad. We're saying we're going to be intentional to make sure they're better. And so hopefully over time, we'll see the benefits of that work. But that's us going and seeing it, having that discussion. Hey, we say to the principals, so you have testing coming up. Are you prepared? Do you have everything? And then we are teaching them to talk to us about testing so that they also have ownership of that process. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Superintendent. This information is very helpful. And thank you for the numbers, because I like to see numbers, that helps for my understanding. But you mentioned during your presentation, you said that this presentation will be posted. Is this going to be posted on the website?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And I've seen the billboards that where we're encouraging children and families to come to school, families to send their children to school. Do you know how long those billboards, like that information will be posted on the billboards? Is it year round? Is it through this?
No, the billboards are up. We are guaranteed a month.
Okay.
So you'll see that I think there's only one billboard that has continued since August.
Okay.
Other than that, the next time another contract comes, it comes down. We'll be doing another billboard campaign in
Okay.
the spring, and we are hoping to feature parents and students.
Very nice. Okay. Yeah, there was a billboard where I lived, so it was nice to see the that information posted or presented to the community. And I think for me, you may have already planned to do this for future presentations, just to see some of the numbers for attendance. That might be helpful as well. Yeah.
So in January, we had an attendance presentation set for tonight, but it would have been 3 because we have 2.
Yeah.
This one, and we were trying to make sure that we respected time.
Yeah.
And we can stay here all night. So in January, Mrs. Grant and team will share the information about attendance, and it's striking. If you're listening, like I always say, if you want to know the truth, we'll tell you, but you can't always just sit there. What are we going to do about it? And our conversations have been, ever since we've seen the embargo data, is what do we do now? Because talking about it helps us to understand it, but we're taking action. So she's going to present in January, and I think you'll be excited to see, and it's in data numbers. It's by percentages. It shows decreases by 10%, increases by 20%, and you'll be able to see patterns in the month of January and last spring. And what does that mean? So we won't say what it means, but you might be able to figure out what it means when you see attendance rising for 3 consecutive years at the same space, and then there's an event or a time in our lives that causes attendance to drop by drastic numbers. If you go back to any of the comments I've made at a board meeting, I shared it. I said, we'll actually see this in a year or 2 years. We'll see the results of decisions. Every decision we make as adults have impact on young people long term, every one of them. So, but we'll present in January.
All right. Thank you.
I want to ditto what our brother Gene said. This was an excellent presentation. And I also want to add that I am so grateful for you, grateful for your team. I'm grateful for the building administrators and their staffs, because I can feel the enthusiasm, I can feel the expectancy of good things.
Yes.
And it honestly fills me with hope. I'm not a very emotional person at times, but today I'm feeling emotional. I don't know why. I almost cried here. But it's just because I feel that you have heard us as a board, and you have heard the community, and you have understood, and you have been able to gather your people to do the amazing work that you're doing. And although we may not have that acknowledgement yet from our community, we know the work is being done, and I am ever so grateful. Thank you. But there is an ask.
Sure,
There's always an ask, right?
you got it.
When you were speaking about, our mission for our students, the career part, I would love to be able to see how we can have some kind of tracking of these students who have chosen not to go to college and
Right.
rather start their careers right off graduation, and if we have helped them in that. So that would be an ask, for, I guess, from our small learning communities.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think we can add that. I just want to give kudos to the people who work here. I'm very clear that I am one person, and there are about 3,000 people who make this move. And so we fight often, we push each other, we pull each other, but I'm hopeful that we stay in it for the children and for the families. So great staff. You go down every list, every room that's clean, every standard that's taught, every principal that locks a building down because of it. I mean, everything has to work, and we've been focused on making sure that when you cross the lines, it's a football analogy, and I give sports analogies. When you cross the line to compete here, please bring your best for the time that you're here. And then when you go home, enjoy home. So we're hopeful to continue good work here.
Absolutely. Thank you for the presentation as well. I definitely was very informative, and I always appreciate seeing these quarterly updates or trimester updates. I just had a question. I know you talked about, when we talked about student achievement, you talked a little bit about how teachers are having some PD around AI tools to help with differentiated learning. I wanted to know a little bit more about that and seeing how we as a district has trying to figure out how to use AI to support and serve our students in the district.
Yeah, I think the AI it's very scary because it can be linked to dishonesty when you're talking about assignments. But if you build student agency and you give rigorous assignments, you can eliminate that. Imagine telling a student, I want you to tell me about the continent of Africa, or the country of X, or the city of Y. I want you to work with 3 people, and I want you to be able to produce this. You can use these 3 modes, and we're going to facilitate that, and this covers 18 standards. Use whatever you need, right? That's what AI is. It's, I guess, dispelling the fear about it. So you have to train on that, because as a teacher, and many of our teachers are going, whoa, whoa, whoa. What's going on? They're able to just spit that paper out. And we want original and authentic thinking around the assignment. So we do have to train to make sure we can decipher that when the assignments come in. So I think overall, it's making sure that we're proactive. Maybe our staff, and many of our staff will say, hey, you can use AI. Some may not, but if we train them to look to see if this is the student's voice. Remember we talked about student voice early on? Is it the student's voice? Does James Earl always use that word? Does he always write that way? You can almost sense it. But we're worried about the content. Are they learning about Africa or the city of Trenton or building bridges? So if they search and find that information and the information's authentic, that's where we want to go. AI can help that. We don't want to build a world where students use AI for everything, but be forewarned, it's already here, and we were behind when we walked in, right? They've been asking those questions, getting quick information. So how do we transition that to make sure it's good information? You know, that it's peer-reviewed if it's a research paper and all those kinds of things. So, and many of the administrators I'm around, I haven't tried it yet, probably because I don't know the technology as well, but many of my colleagues use AI. Many of those wonderful letters you see posted in districts come from AI. AI. I don't use it because I just haven't, that takes me time away from something else to type in something, and I'm being told you're silly, you should just use AI. But Our goal is to use it effectively. So there are a number of strategies. I can talk to you about different things we do, but it's about listening to teachers to hear what they actually need in a classroom around that strategy. And some are afraid maybe of it, others embrace it. So you have that, and we want to live in this century, so we're saying let's train more about it. And you get willing participants who come in and go, how can I use it? What do I do with it? And students can create and let them learn the content.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. And I guess my second question is around, I know we talked about our student achievement, we talked about especially like literacy and reading and how important that is as a district. I want to know a little bit more about how we're tying in our community partners who that especially are focused around literacy when it comes to our goals around increasing student achievement. So
we have a nonprofit community partner meeting. We have the Mercer Street, the coalition that I talked about a few minutes ago, and we have a number of partners. So this has been a bit uncomfortable in Trenton for 4 years because we're walking in saying, hey, you can't do that because it doesn't align with this. So we're not harsh about that, but we're pretty direct to say, if you want access to our children, you actually should do this way. Think about the child who spends all day with us, shows up at the program, and they're doing something totally different. Not fair to the child. It could help because they get an experience. We didn't touch that the first few years, but now we're actually meeting, and we have an application with our nonprofit partners. They must fill out the application, cite the goal, and tell us the type of work that they're planning to do with our children so that we can see if it's actually aligned to what we're doing. And we're actually more demanding about new partners. You must do. Partners who've been with us, we're trying to transition them into saying, use this resource because this is the one we use. Use this method because that's the way the teacher teaches, you know. But many of our teachers are also in the programs, and that helps, you know, if they're doing that. So we've spent some time, probably the last 2 years, really trying to align that outside support with what we do inside. And that's difficult because you think about a partner who's, and I've heard them say, I'm going to call one of you. And they call you by name because I've been doing this for 20 years. And I usually say, I understand that, but we need you to help us do it this way. And so we, like I said, we're very demanding and direct. So call and work with whoever you've been working with, but we want you to transition to this. And it's working because our partners are meeting with us. They're learning about what we do. We just presented last week and some today about this is what we do, right? If you ask a teacher, the teacher says, that's not what I do, this is what I do. So listen to what we do so you can move what we do, not what you do. And then let the fight at least be about that instead of a whole separate thing. So we're doing that work now, and it looks like you're in the meeting and you're having to present on the same things, because some of these slides I've already presented in those meetings, sharing with them, this is how it looks to implement goal 1, goal 2, goal 3, goal 4. And they're looking at you like, oh. And we're saying, do it this way. If you do it this way, we can grant you access, right? And so we want people who want to be with us, all right? So I'll leave it at that. They have to want to be, want to be with us, all right?
Yeah, absolutely. And just one follow-up for that. How are we measuring their impact, or if the support is actually helping us to improve test scores, and are we tracking that on a trimester, yearly basis?
So that's been difficult, and we're having that conversation two, because we have vendors and our partners come in and say, we need data, we need to share with our donors that we're making progress, or our students are outperforming others. And we say the same thing. Well, how do you know that? So you think we spend 6 hours with them, and then you have 2, and that all of their success is related to what you do? So we're saying, let's not do that. Let's talk about the kids' growth from the time they walk in 3rd grade to 4th grade, and it can be The contributing factors could be the district and everything that we do, the partner and everything that they do, the home and everything they do, the walk to school, the adult who takes them in the after-school activity. We continue to pull out what we love to see. And I'm saying there's good and not so good in all of the pullout. So we'll never know that impact. What we do know for a fact, if a child is with us after school in our programs, they have a better chance of success. Doesn't mean that they won't have success, but we know if they're with us in a safe environment, continuing to learn, potentially being fed, while mom, dad, and family are engaged in adult stuff and making sure they take care of the family, they have a better chance. So we're just not going to judge that. It would be almost impossible to know, but we do know it's helpful because they're out of trouble, maybe one, and we see some of our schools, the overall school increases in reading, math, in attendance, and everything. So sure, and they have strong after-school programs, but they also have strong in-school programs. So what is that? That's a very difficult one, and we're working to figure out how to give our partners data that they can take to their people to say, hey, we need your donorship because our kids are increasing. So there are a couple of things we won't do, and I'll stop. But we won't let you compare the second graders. That's just a rule I have. It's a superintendent's rule because why am I saying that this kid is better or worse than that kid? It won't happen. So what I can say is our second graders are making progress, or we would like to see more progress, because the minute you pit a school or a child or a demographic against each other, and we have to do that with the state, it just doesn't feel right. And so we try to stay away from that, but we'll work with our partners to try to get them the data they need to make decisions about funding, because some of them are with us pro bono. They're with us, they bring the funding, they bring the services and the supports.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I must echo with what everyone's saying. It was an excellent presentation. I think as humans, we love evidence, we love a good story. So to hear that you were involved with the nonverbal students and through the investment of technology, you walked out in tears to see that they could communicate. So I wanted to compliment that. And I do have a question. You mentioned in the presentation about the attendance, and you briefly talked about like new ideas with the parents. And my question is, I guess like a part two. So in goal 2, when you were speaking of community engagement and partnerships, there was a Parent Connect conference on October 18th. So when it comes to attendance, I never want to assume like because I wasn't there, I don't know what you guys spoke about, but are the parents aware of the attendance? And if there are new ideas, are we receiving their feedback to come up with new ideas to like let them know about what's like this gap that's happening in the district?
Yeah. So we've had multiple attendance opportunities for parents to talk about what good attendance is, what it means if you come regularly to school. So we've been doing that for years. I think today we hit a flashpoint, and it was like, man, it seems that we have all these good resources in place. We've adjusted in our schools. We have lighting and furniture and all the things and good teaching, and we're just working. Why are they not coming? What is that, right? And so we started talking about innovation. Like you have to look at your environment, what comes out and then what goes in to make sure. We know that transportation could be an issue, so that was a conversation. Is there a way to transport more children than not to see if we can get them there? On the issue of families having crisis in the home, what else can we do? Because we're engaged. When you see the CARES team presentation, that's an invitation. We bring families in. We don't make the data that you're going to see in January. We don't make that up. That comes straight from them. So we're talking to them to say, why are you not coming? What's going on? What can we do? We've had recommendations from, well, you have to come pick them up because I can't get them out of bed. We've talked about buying alarm clocks. We've gone up and down the gamut. Here's the bottom line. At some point, education must matter here. and not just for them, for everyone. Attendance must matter for every single body that exists in the district. Everybody, every staff member, including yours truly, every single student. When that matters, it'll change. So we're trying to find the right formula to make it matter without it being consequential. Because the first thing you want to do is, oh my gosh, we're not punishing everybody. This is not a punishment segment. But we want to make sure that we instill the importance of attending. We want adults to attend more frequently. I'm working with my colleagues. One of the things that was mentioned was staff attendance. We want to work on that too. We want to work on everyone's attendance, because if adults are there, we know research will tell you one caring, if you're wondering, one caring adult for a student who knows their name, who invests, changes, and may make the difference in them coming. It might not solve every issue at that particular time, but this is about saving lives, and sometimes you don't save lives in 4 years in high school. You build every single foundation to save it at 26, so they make better decisions, and that's what we're doing. It's just the work that we do. It's not hard, it's not easy, it's just the work. So lots of good, but we've been with parents talking about what good attendance means. We've met with them individually, talked to students, saying, what is this? Why are you not coming? So for some reason, it hasn't been as important, and we're trying to figure out what's the magic, the magic in making sure that attendance is like one of the most important things that happens. You get up every morning, and teaching some grit. I mean, you think about, we told an analogy today about the child who, if you in first grade, because our data will tell you this starts early, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. So if you're not conditioning your body physically, right? Think about to get up every day and to come in. By the time you're in middle school, you opt out more times than you opt in, because it's easy to stay in. Your body has to physically know, I got to wake up and I got to work through some struggle, and I got to get to the bus, get down the street, go to the school. And if there are conditions that keep me from getting there, I need to let someone know to see what we can do to help. That's kind of how it works. So we're going to continue to work on that. It's not an easy thing to solve, but we're in it. Love any ideas. So we talked about incentives too for young people.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that wraps up the questions during this time. But just wanted to thank you so much, Superintendent, and just share with the board that this is one of 3 presentations. The next one will be in April. It'll cover January, of course, January, February, and March, a full quarter. So we'll get an opportunity, another bite at the apple, to hear from our superintendent in his presentation on the state of the district and all of our goals. In April, that's the second one, and the final one will be in September, which would cover May, June, July. Of course, we have August as a summer month. That would be reported out by our superintendent in September. So that's the trimester presentations from our superintendent. Thank you so much, and your team, for the work that you're doing. Thank you. God bless you. And this room, one more note, guys. This room needs to be filled. I'm just going to lay it out. This room needs to be filled with our community. So I'll take it upon myself as one board member to invite as many people as I can to the next superintendent presentation, so folks can hear the work, the great work that's being done, and the challenges that we face in our district. And I want to ask each and every board member to make sure that we challenge our community and our friends and our partners to come out to hear the work that our superintendent and his team are doing in his presentations. If it's not 3 times a year, they can come out. If not once a month, they can come out 3 times a year. So I challenge each and every one of our board members in our community to share with their friends and their families and their colleagues to come and hear what's happening in our district, the great things that are happening, and our challenge that we face. So thank you so much, Superintendent.
While we're waiting, good evening, everyone. My name is Hope Grant, Assistant Superintendent for Secondary Schools.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Julius Clark, the Assistant Superintendent of School Support.
Dr. Conway is not with us tonight, but he sends us all of his good wishes and spirits. So we're going to go over the first reporting period for our SSDS data. Before we go any further, I want to just do quick introductions. Usually I'm not the person, we are not the people that do these presentations, but they are in the audience, so I do want to recognize them. They work with our schools every single day on this, and in addition to all of the other supports and assistance that we provide schools. We have our Philip Ravenel. He is our school support manager for K through 3 schools. So he is not here, he is a coach, and they have a game tomorrow, first game of the fall season, of the winter season. We then have Mr. Dean McLeese. He is the school support manager for intermediate and middle schools. And we have Mr. Terrence Stokes, who's our school support manager for high school. And all right, so we're going to cover the HIB investigations, the first reporting period for the 25-26 school year, violence and vandalism and other suspensions, and also look at the 25-26 year-to-date suspension data. So you have a comparison from the 23-24, 24-25, and 25-26 school year. 23-24 is in the dark blue, 24-25 is in the yellow, and 25-26 is in the light blue. One thing we want to note is that this January will complete our first full year of having the Hipster online program to report and track investigations involving harassment, intimidation, and bullying. So we do see an increase of the number of investigations that is coming in. But that was one of the things I think last year at this time we were concerned about. We wanted to make sure that we were accurately capturing any time that a family or a student felt that there was a concern. And so we see definitely that we are getting more of those concerns documented. When it comes to founded cases, we are on par as where we were last year. So we have 15 cases this year that were made into investigations, with 2 cases founded. We had 124 reported acts of violence and vandalism for the first reporting period, with 60 of those being other incidences. We have 70 reported acts of violence and vandalism through November 30th of 2025, with 73 other incidences being reported. And of those offenses, you can see, again, we're looking at the same blue, I think this one, it's orange and light blue. So we are down dramatically when it comes to assaults this school year as compared to last year. We are down from fights, incidences of sexual contact, threats, simple threats, damage to property. Theft, we are saying on average. Weapons possession, we have 1 submission. Substance possessions, we have 2. Substance use, substance distribution, and false alarm, we have 2. We are up when it comes to other suspensions, and that could vary from, my mind just drew a complete blank, of students misbehaving in the classroom, being of high levels of defiance, and so those are some of the things that you would see when it comes to other suspensions. And so we are then looking at the 3-year trend for the first reporting period for submissions and suspensions. Violence and vandalism, we are down from 124 now down to 70. Again, with other incidences, we are going up with a reported of 73 and a number of 240 suspensions as compared to last year. This time we're at 351. So in order to get and we are still a work in progress, but there's a lot of things, and this is just a sample of some of the programs that we do in order to support our students, support our schools, support our families, so that we are understanding how students are connecting with each other to make sure that they are using their words and not their fists, and that we are treating everyone with kindness. So as Mr. Earl talked about in his presentation, we are in year 5 of trauma-informed care. That encompasses a lot, but let's talk about a couple of the things. Peaceful practices. This helps children understand their emotions and equip them with effective tools to manage their feelings. There are 6 workshop titles that we have for staff to support our staff to get our students to understand their emotion and learn how to regulate their emotions and some of the stress. Every single school has a HOPE team. The HOPE team, their whole purpose is to talk about how they can increase opportunities for positive experiences for children that may be in need. So the teams get together, their teachers, their support staff, there's the guidance counselors, their school administrators, and they talk about students that are already exhibiting concerning behavior. And they can come up with a plan to how to assist those students. It is different from looking at just attendance. It is really actually focusing specifically on behavior and how we're able to get students to turn the corner into a positive direction with their behavior. We also have schools looking very deeply into the New Jersey Sky Survey. The New Jersey Sky Survey surveys students, parents, and staff about their feelings about the school. So we did it in the spring. Schools now have the opportunity to unpack that data and then develop plans of action about things that, that they want to work on in order to support their overall school climate. One of the things that we saw across the board were students saying that other students were speaking unkindly. And that's where the kindness campaign got kicked in. And this is coming from a district, but it is being implemented at every single school, where we are encouraging students to treat one another with respect and compassion throughout the school year. One of the other programs that we have, which I think we're in year 4, is with our restorative practices. We've been working very hard on making sure that schools are implementing restorative practices in a consistent manner. In order to do that, we needed to build from within and kind of build our bench. We didn't want to rely on vendors coming in, so we were very specific in making sure that we had every single school have a person that is a trained, it's a train the trainer. So they are an expert in restorative practices at every single school. Every single administrator in our district has received restorative practices for educators, every single guidance counselor. And then we had all the culture and climate specialists, the social emotional learning specialists, the guidance counselors, some select teachers, all have gone through restorative practices training. So 100% of our schools have provided turnkey restorative practices PD to their staff. 100% of the schools have received restorative practices coaching. And we have 66 restorative practices trainers district-wide. That means you have gone through the full series of training from the Institute for Restorative Practices to receive your certificate to be identified as a restorative practices trainer. And so this is just a quick example of some of the professional development sessions that we put into place. I'm not going to put him on the spot, but Mr. Hawk is one of our restorative practices trainers district-wide and provided restorative practices professional development during the full-day PD. And Mr. Clark is going to talk to you a little bit about Hipster.
Good evening, everyone. I am one of those people who use AI, as you can see by my slides. No, but Hipster, what we, Ms. Grant touched upon it, it is our reporting system used by our stakeholders. As you can see, it's a platform in which parents have a way of reporting HIBs or potential HIBs. If they wanted to, they go to our website and they fill out the form and they submit it, and schools are able to check these HIB forms and perform the investigation as needed. Also within this platform, we're able to have restorative and preventive training modules and learning modules for our students that can be implemented by counselors, by vice principals, or principals as necessary. And then obviously we can use that information, the data we receive from the reported HIBs and through the investigation to do some data analysis, to do more restorative and preventive practices, and just plan accordingly as well. Ms. Grant talked about how our principals are building school plans centered around climate and culture, and some of that is using that data information from the HIPster as well. And so the online module, I went a little bit deeper just so you guys know what it is. The C3 module is more of the preventative practices. That's instead of being reactive, you're being more proactive. Those are those learning modules that you can work with groups of kids that might have shown aggressive behavior or certain tendencies. And then we also have the R3. This is just all part of HIPster, and that's just the restorative program and curriculum that you can use for targets of HIP behavior, that's harassment, intimidation, bullying behavior, or for those who are alleged to perform those type of behaviors as well. Questions?
Yeah, I just have one. So the other suspensions that were listed, I didn't write this slide down, but it's the first couple of slides, right? Just at some point, and I know you don't have it because it would be here, but that one right there, right? So it says other. Is it possible that sometimes later you can provide us a list with some of those other things could be? That's all, because I would like to take a look. And if you could kind of to see which one of those are rising to the top, okay? I mean, it's 73. We got 12,000 kids, but you have to be proactive about it, right? All right, thank you.
A really quick one. The school climate surveys, are those the ones that the Department of Education
Yes.
offers? So you could give them the link on our website to that?
So every single school has a specific link for that specific population,
Okay.
and the data goes to the Department of Education, and we have access to that platform.
So how do the parents get the link?
The parents get the link through a QR code that is developed for that specific school.
All right.
Yes, but it's not happening. It's closed right now.
Right, but how do they get it?
Oh, how do they get it? Class dojo, letters
Okay.
home, flyers, you name it. Yes.
Perfect, thank
Post it
you.
on the website.
Post it on the website. Yes.
So, yeah, I don't have a question, more so of a comment. I'm very pleased to hear about all the restorative practices training that's going on, because I know that that is a mindset switch, right, in terms of the punitive aspect and looking to restore instead. So again, I just wanted to comment that I'm very happy to see that every school has some person who's been trained, and that schools hopefully are embracing this mindset change, and that may account for the reduction in the number of suspensions in some categories. But again, my other question is similar to the one that Jean had about what is that other, right, that's going up as opposed to the others that are going down. So just that comment, but again, very pleased with the implementation of restorative practices training. So thank you for that.
And all right, hopefully it's not as much of an echo. Nope, still there. So I remember through the course of these presentations over the years, and a few comments have been made, there was a certain, I wouldn't necessarily say trend, but there was a point that was made that there were, although these are unique submissions and unique incidents that are happening, the idea was that we saw that there were certain repeat offenders, like certain people that were constantly the ones that were getting suspensions, starting by X, Y, and Z. Is that reflected here? Is that still more of the same, or are these things, like the numbers that we're seeing here, more of unique individuals that are being suspended?
No, some of these are going to be repeat students, and one of the interventions we have in place is the HOPE team, so that when schools are seeing that it is the same students that are being suspended, and some of those other suspensions could include willful disobedience, class cutting, those other kind of things that impact the overall culture and climate of the school and so when we do see those repeat offenders, we do try to bring them in, have them meet with the HOPE team, and develop a corrective action plan for them.
And that's also a hope of some of the hipster learning modules. I know we just got January is also implementing some of those modules with those who are repeat offenders as well, to be a little bit more proactive when working with them.
Sounds good. Yeah, and I know you guys are absolutely working on it. I just, that specific breakdown, I remember that being a very interesting point of data, so I just didn't know how that was reflected in the numbers. But thank you guys for the work, and especially the restorative practices, because I know over time, that's what's really going to be helpful.
All minds are clear? We're all good? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just wanted, yeah, we clap? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't clap. For the board, this is one of two presentations that we will receive this year. We get 2 a year on the SSDS submissions. This is reporting from September through December, which is due in January from a district perspective in terms of due dates for submission to the NJDOE. And then the next one is in August. So we'll get another bite at the apple on this as well in terms of the presentation on the results and the information gathered for the SSDS submission. So we'll have another presentation probably sometime in July or August on the same information. Is that correct, Superintendent? Okay, thank you so much. So we'll let the board know about the presentations and two mandatory submissions every single year on this data, both a federal and a state requirement for those two submissions. No further questions on that. Go right into my time. Comments on board committee chairs. I'll start out. Wanted to just give some updates on some goals that were established, some presidential goals that were established in 2025 goals. First of all, let me say this. Let me say happy holidays to all of our board members, those celebrating Advent, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa coming up, and all in between. Happy holidays to everyone as this is our final board member before the holidays. We won't see each other, and New Year's won't see each other again until January 2026. So I want to wish not only the board and the administration, but our community who are here, happy holidays to all of you in your respective season holiday traditions. In 2025, some of the goals, presidential goals that I set in place, one of the goals was to align our board agenda to our district goals and strategic plan. And I think that went very well, not only from a board member perspective, but also from a community perspective and district staff perspective, understanding how each of our board goals aligns to our district goals and strategic plan. It really lines things up nicely. One of the other goals that I had was to add New Jersey School Board Association, county and statewide, and 4Cs liaison representation reports as a part of our board reports so that we all understand and know, whether it be at the county level with Denise or at the state level with Addie Daniels Lane or 4Cs that Yolanda goes to on a regular basis, I believe. Yolanda, you still going to 4Cs meetings, right? Oh, okay. All right. We'll get, when you can. The other goal that I had was to make sure that prior to January, we have a draft of our 2026, which is our subsequent year board meeting, annual meeting calendar, as well as our committee meeting schedule from January to December of 2026. So you have that in a draft form for tonight's board meeting. So so you can take a look at all the calendar items for 2026 for our annual board meetings, as well as our committee meetings for 2026, just to kind of give us a head start, understanding when those meetings will be. And if we need to make any changes to committee meetings, please let me know, and Superintendent and Jane Howard know, and we'll make those updates prior to our January 6th reorganization meeting, where we will be approving our annual board meeting calendar, as well as our committee meeting schedule as well. So please look at those important documents, and if you have any adjustments, please let us know. For 2026, one of the things I'd like us to look and work on is enhancing our committee review. One of the things is we want to drive data, district data analysis and review, and continue to connect. We already do this work, but continue to connect our district goals and our strategic plan elements, right? So in our committee meetings, we've had presentations. Teaching and learning, we had a presentation. Joanne presented some information, actual presentation. In the last FACE committee meeting, we had a presentation on the attendance, and so that was presented there. And so the idea is that the presentations in committee become a framework for presentations to the full board. But not only that, but those presentations shed light on how we are connecting the data and reviewing the data and analyzing data that reflects on the accomplishment of our district goals and our strategic plan elements. So that's one of the goals I have for 2026. The second one is, in conjunction with that, is our annual board meeting schedule, presentation schedule. Want to look at on a quarterly basis, starting with next quarter, just understanding what's coming up, so you guys will know in January, February, and March. We know in March is our board budget presentation. January and March, whatever those presentations are going to be. January, have a presentation on attendance coming up. I want you guys to know what presentations are coming up. So if you have any questions prior to that, you can ask those questions. Also be able to get that information as soon as possible prior to the board meeting, whether it be in a committee meeting presentation prior to the full board presentation, where committee chairs and committee members can review and take a look at the presentation and ask important questions, and then come to the full board for a presentation. So looking forward to getting information, working with our superintendent and his team to get the presentations lined up, so we understand and know what those presentations will be each and every quarter. That would be the easiest way to do it on a quarterly basis, rather than try and do a whole year at once. Number 3 is, I got 5. Number 3 is get our group and individual photos. I think everyone has been asking, and once that's done, and we have a full slate of board members, now full 9 board members, 3 elected in November, congratulations. And in January, we like to have our full board member photo, our January board meeting. So come dressed, y'all. Come dressed to impress. And also, we want to have our individual photos as well. And get our board IDs, our board member IDs. Some of us had them from previously having them done, but want to get a new slate of board member IDs as well. Superintendent, we've been talking about it, and he's been offering to do that for us. And so we want to do that at our January. Goal was to have it at our January board meeting, have our pictures taken, our group picture taken, and get our picture in the Hall of Fame in our board conference room. We've been asking about that, and we'll get that done in January. Number 4 is, one that also began, we've been talking about this work, is, and some of us have actually visited the schools with our superintendent. I know Gene has gone on several occasions. I know that Larry has gone on several occasions, but one of all of us to be able to go in 3x3s, since we're a 9-member board now, 3x3s once a month, once every other month, with our superintendent, to actually go into the schools with our superintendent in a 3x3 format, 3 board members at a time in 2026. It's so very important for us to get a firsthand view, hands-on experience with our superintendent in the school environment during the day, just walking through with his walkthroughs, asking him questions, meeting the administration, meeting some teachers, of course, students as well. I think that will add a lot of value to the work that we do. Many of us have already done that and experienced that but many of our new board members may not have experienced that and want to get that hands-on experience with our superintendent in our schools where the rubber meets the road. So get that firsthand view of how every decision that we make have an impact and influence on our students, and seeing what that impact and influence is. So 3x3s once a month or once every other month, however we decide to do it logistically with our superintendent, but to make that happen in 2026. And lastly, wanted to get we talked about this some time ago, a portal where we have all the data, a data portal, right? A data portal where we have all of the board presentations, data that we looked at in committees, but a data portal for all of our board members to actually go to that portal and see the presentation that Joanne did. I think she did like 3 in a row every month for the last couple of months, and have those housed in one location for our board members, a private site where our board members have access to actually go in and look at that information. Right now, we do have the access, but it's kind of scattered because it's in different Google folders by the board date. So we have a presentation, like this presentation will be in the board folder for this month. We want to have that all in one location so that our board members can go in and be able to review all the information at a glance and pick and choose which things they may want to go back to, review, and then ask, maybe at that point have additional questions to ask the superintendent. So that's the 5 goals that I would have for 2026. And then in terms of our board governance, we have our 5-year strategic plan implementation plan on the agenda for approval tonight. And that was something that we had a good conversation with Joanne Freeman, who is our representative for New Jersey School Board Association. And on the agenda tonight is a document agreement for approval. And essentially, we met on December the 5th in a planning meeting, myself, the superintendent, Denise Johnson, our vice president. We did discuss this in governance as well. Our first meeting in our strategic plan is called the 3 R's calendar, or 3 R's strategic planning framework, will be February the 10th at 7 p.m., and that will be reflection, state of the schools, and strength and challenges. Our superintendent will present on February the 10th. Tuesday, March 24th, will be meeting number 2, where we'll be some reimagining. We're creating a common vision. At that time, Tuesday, April 21st, recalibrate goals and objectives, and then May and July, during that time frame, the superintendent and his team will develop action plans, and then on September 28th, we'll have our delivery of that plan to our community and our board meeting, and then the subsequent board meeting, October, we'll get that strategic plan approved. So we'll be all approved for our next 5-year strategic plan by October of 2026 in accordance with that meeting schedule. There is one other part. There is a virtual piece to this. The presentation on February the 10th of 2026, that first meeting will be taped. The superintendent will tape that meeting, and then that particular meeting where he gives a state of the school, state of the district in terms of our strengths and challenges will be on our website, and there will be a survey at that time on our website for our community members who may not be able to make that first meeting or even subsequent meetings. Gives them an opportunity, a bite at the apple, to share in a survey what their thoughts and feelings are about the current strategic plan, about the state of the district, and give some input to our overall process for our next strategic plan. So that's what we have for that. I went over those 2 things. Board self-evaluation is the final piece I wanted to share with you guys tonight. Want to get the 2025 board self-evaluation completed. My objective initially was December 31st, but it's kind of quickly approaching. So at least by January 9th, I'll set that up hopefully this week, and then you'll be able to go in and actually begin to do your our board self-evaluation in the portal on the New Jersey School Board Association's website. We have 3 goals for 2020, board goals for 2025. One of them is to stay in compliance in terms of professional development with the Carol E. Larson Master Board Certification. Number 2 is to make sure that our individual board member certifications that we accomplish each and every step along the way in accordance with New Jersey School Board Association timelines. That be for new board members, veteran board members, and the like. We want to make sure we all meet the certification requirements in a timely manner in accordance with the timeframes established by New Jersey school boards. And then third goal, this both for 2025 and 2026, is that we attend our statewide workshop in Atlantic City. We did in 2025, and every year we'll do it in 2026. And that we attend our county school board meetings on a regular basis, and that we continue to have representation on the county and state level of New Jersey School Board Association. We have a first vice president right now, Addie Daniels-Lane, who represents us at the county and the state level. And of course, Denise Johnson as our delegate, and our assistant delegate, I believe, is it Yolanda, or is it, no, it's Addie. Addie as our alternate delegate, and Denise Johnson as the delegate to the Jersey School Board Association, where we vote on resolutions at the state level. So we want to continue that representation at the state and county level, of course, local here in the Trenton board. But those are the 2025 goals we've accomplished, 2026 goals I'd like to see accomplished in terms from the presidential standpoint, and then our governance committee of our 5-year strategic plan implementation plan, and then our self-evaluation that we have to do every single year. So that wraps up my reports to the board. It's our board meeting. Thank you. We have another. Next on the agenda will be teaching and learning, Addie Daniels-Lane.
Okay, so good evening. So the Teaching and Learning Committee did meet on Tuesday, December the 9th. And of course, at that meeting, we were charged with reviewing the proposed agenda items for this particular board meeting. We also discussed at that time a proposed bill that had passed the Assembly that is proposing to eliminate the high school graduation exam. And I had a discussion about that and what, just theorizing what might actually replace that particular test. So we're not sure if it's going to pass the state Senate as well. And then again, if that is the case, if it is eliminated, then what will be in its place, or will nothing be in its place? So again, it's a kind of a wait and see kind of approach. So we had that discussion. Some of the highlights that we noted from the agenda, opportunities for college visits and partnerships, the arts development, there's a focus on college and career readiness. There was a new assessment for students who may be suggested or recommended for gifted and talented instruction. We also again highlighted counseling materials and resources for our kindergarten students and our early learners. Very pleased with the fact that there are a lot of field trips listed for most of the schools, that there is social emotional learning and support programs, and there is an expansion of the young audiences programming for various schools. Another item that we found to be very interesting, and again highlighted, there is English language learning opportunities for parents and families that's presented at, I believe it was P.J. Hill School. So those were some of the highlights from our agenda items for teaching and learning. There was also an update from special ed, and that update talked about the holiday cheer across programs related to the fact that seasonal celebrations will be taking place throughout a variety of the special education classes. We also noted that there would be targeted professional development for paraprofessionals, and certainly, again, they are the support system for our special needs students, and that there is, in fact, professional development targeted to them specifically. Also noted for special education, we did have a corrective action plan for a particular case, shall we say, and in fact that is nearing closure, having again the aim of again satisfying all of the requirements that were listed in the plan, focusing on strengthening communication, program implementation, and meeting protocols to ensure that there is full compliance and also improve family engagement. And that is again relative to a corrective action plan that we had to implement. So that was the information from teaching and learning, and of course the proposals and resolutions are listed on tonight's board agenda for approval. Thank you.
Yes, on Tuesday, the Operations and Finance Committee met. We looked at the Secretary's report, Treasurer's report, staff travel, and the bill list. The bills came to $43,331,000 for November 14th through the 26th. Also found it very interesting that there were out-of-district placements for Mercer County Technical Schools, 131, 111 full-time students, and 20 share-time students. And what we also found out is that the majority are for students who live in Trenton but are in charter schools. But I think the significance of that is that these children are choosing alternative paths as opposed to going to college. And when you mention a full-time, that means they take both their high school courses and their technical career courses in a full day. So I was really excited to hear that number. That's 131 students who live in Trenton that are taking a vocational path was a good thing. And then lastly, we have the donations, and I meant to start by saying that when I give my reports, they cross over a number of goals, 5, 2, and 4. And so if you go to the website and you look at our agenda, you'll know exactly which goals apply for what. So donations, Play It Forward Enterprise, 14 twin-size mattresses valued at $1,400 for family and community engagement. Souls for Souls, 250 sneakers, 550 Bomba socks valued at $25,000, and somebody's going to have to tell me what a Bomba sock is. Special socks, okay. And Boys and Girls Clubs, 15 bikes, books, and backpacks valued at $1,500. Empower Somerset, $2,500 to the 9th grade academy. Trenton High Alumni Association, Crystal Feliciano, Lance Lopez. The value of this is $6,167 to Trenton Central High School to pay for prom venue for the class of 2026. Kudos. And Inspired Consumer Incorporated, $400 to PJ Hill. And we'd like to thank those folks for sacrificing for our students.
Yes, the Facilities Committee met on Tuesday, December 9th. A couple reserve capital maintenance projects, our Ziegler Building Warehouse. The district received an email correspondence from PSE&G requesting a relocation of overhead primary cable at a cost of $179,000. The Building and Grounds Department has reached out to discuss this further with PSE&G. There's a new elevator addition at Harrison. Contractor has received a required permit from DCA. The project will move forward with construction while school is occupied. They're going to coordinate with staff to make sure that all safety and security concerns are still being happening. Tanga is having renovations, alterations. Contractor has completed installation of the overlook windows in existing gym. The district received approval for the electrical and plumbing work in the basement and has started installing the ductwork. The school administrator and design team members agreed to transition into newly renovated basement space upon return from spring recess, pending completion approval. MLK demo project is 100% complete. The district is looking to submit full reimbursement to the insurance company. Chiller replacement update, Gregory School chiller replacements are scheduled and finalized over winter recess. And there's going to be a new chiller being purchased for the admin building. They're looking for a contract to be hired at a later date to perform the installation. Some K-6 school update when it comes to Dunn Campus, SDA. SDA has hired a general contractor to contract a new K-6 school on former Dunn Middle School site. Perimeter site fencing is scheduled to start beginning the week of December 15th. The existing Dunn school staff and visitor parking will no longer be available as a result. School's been notified. Staff will be parking along the perimeter of the school, perimeter street of the school. We also discussed board visits to schools with the superintendent, which Board President Trueheart mentioned earlier. That was the facilities report. Yes. Yes, thank you. Give me a second. Just had it open. So the Family and Community Engagement Committee met on the 10th. We discussed the student attendance correction plan, which will be presented in January. We also discussed the Board of Education food pantry and Thanksgiving drive donations, and some of our parent support programs. During the month of November, 232 families, which is equivalent of 544 children and 698 adults, received food bags, including frozen meat and eggs. On the 25th at the board auditorium, 175 families received Thanksgiving food baskets. The district partnered with the Trenton Police and was able to distribute 180 Thanksgiving bags, thanks to the Pay It Forward organization that was able to help distribute 10 crock pots. The FACE is also partnering with the SEEDS program to work on marketing, outreach, and parent engagement to increase participation in this in the NSLP and SNAP to help enhance awareness and accessibility of nutrition assistance programs, ensuring more families benefit from available resources and reducing food insecurity. Billboards are scheduled to be posted around the city. Parent focus groups were conducted to assist with developing processes for the billboards. Some upcoming programs on December 11th, well, that passed. There was a holiday giveaway. On January 13th, there's going to be a family movie night at PJ Hill, and on January 28th, there's going to be a housing rights resource event. That was the FACE report. Thank you.
All right, let's try this again. Sounds slightly better. All right, slightly better. All right. So everyone's favorite committee, HR, I'll give the report for that. So some things I wanted to highlight in this report. First, starting off with a few sections, right? Specifically in the new hire, the appointments, and the salary section. I want to highlight the fact that we're bringing in a lot of great people into the district. I know we're hiring a few different teachers for SPED. We have 3 specific teachers that are coming in under bilingual, right? Specific bilingual teachers for math and science. And I counted them up. There are 10, if I'm not mistaken, 10 teachers that are either over or nearing $100,000 that we're bringing into the district or bumping their salaries up to that number. So I would like to officially announce that tonight I will be retiring from the board so I can be a part of that hiring on the spot, all right, and I can start working for the districts. James, I hope you can help me out, all right?
You gotta wait 2 years, bro. Sorry about that. You gotta wait 2 years.
Oh, man, but no, and it goes to my point, right, and I'll go through the rest of it, that we have a lot of amazing positions and a lot of people want to be a part of the great work that we're doing here in the district. We have a few retirements. I have a total of 4, but I wanted to note that the 3 that are normal retirements, on average, are retiring after 27 years in the district. And that is a reoccurring trend that we keep seeing. Like most people stay here for, somewhere around that 20 to 30 year mark, right, with us in the district. So I just wanted to highlight that, that this is another reason why this is a great place to be. And then finally, the stipend section. I did want to get around to the point, and I thought we were going to give the presentation tonight. I know it's been highlighted before, specifically with attendance and the issue that we're having there. We're going to touch base on it in January, but I did want to note the work that we're doing in the district to address that issue, and it's seen even here in the section with stipends, right? This is more than just, approving people for, $30, $40, $50 an hour, different positions. This is specifically, and I highlighted it, attendance and achievement team members, hope and care team members, family and engagement team members, and many other positions, right? Just all highlighted just to address these critical issues. That's what we're approving tonight. Because these are long-standing issues and we're not sitting on our hands, we're actually doing something about it to make sure that we are in the forefront and addressing it head on. Other than that, I loved how we're approving stipends for, home instructors. I saw mentors. We have a variety of leadership teams, a plethora of after-school tutors in clubs, the apples, the art, the dance, the chess clubs, the real estate clubs, right? We have great things that we're providing, not just for our teachers, but specifically for our students to make sure that they have everything they need to succeed. So I just wanted to take that moment to highlight in everyone's favorite committee, HR, the work that we're doing.
Okay, so regarding the policy committee, you all will see we have 4 bylaws that are up for first reading and 7 policies that are up for first reading as well. I won't list them, they're listed in the agenda. I do want to mention that the policy committee will be moving its meeting beginning in January so that this information can be distributed before the board meeting. Like there's time for people to review and to distribute this information before the actual board meeting. We have decided that, or we were notified that we're actually in compliance with updating our policy, so we're in good shape. So, and that's the end of my report.
Great work. Great. Thank you, everyone. Going to move to public participation. And as everyone who has signed up for public participation has read the rules and procedures around public participation, I will start with Mr. Roan. 5 minutes. Student, Trenton Central High School. Please come forward, speak to the board. Look forward to your presentation and your comments. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Lunat. Can you hear me? Oh. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lunat Helena Juwam, and I am the senior class president of Trenton Central High School. I'm here to voice some concern for my fellow seniors. We appreciate the education and opportunities the school has given us, but we have also faced some challenges that we believe need to be addressed. For example, when it comes to bathroom issues, most of the time we don't even have a lot of bathroom open so we can use. And most of the time we have to walk the entire school to find a bathroom to use, and it's very annoying. And also transportation. I know attendance is a big concern at Trenton Central High School, but one of the main reasons that we believe cause that is that there's not enough transportation. For example, today it was cold outside, and most of the students, they have to walk. I know one of my friends, she has to walk 40 minutes every morning and every afternoon to come to school and to go back home. That's very annoying. Just imagine going home or coming to school in this cold and having to walk that's very annoying. Like, it's a lot. And also, when it comes to checking, for example, at Trenton Central High School, we have like, when we have to get into the school, they have to like check us, the security guards, they have to like check us. And most of the time, the student, they have been saying that most of the time they don't like the way that they touch them. Sometimes they just touch them too much, and it feels like they are like touching the private part and stuff. It's just really too much for them. And also, when it comes to food, some of the students, they are struggling. They don't really have food at home. And when they come to school, like getting food like from the cafeteria is such a good thing for them. But they feel like it would be a better option if they had like better food, because they actually appreciate the food that they are getting, but sometimes it's not the best food. And also, they talked about gyms. So basically, when we have gym class, we have to do the thing that our teacher want us to do. It's like we don't really have the option to do what we want to do. And most of the time, the students, they don't want to do what the teacher want them to do, because everybody doesn't like the same thing. So it's like they want more options when it comes to gym. Like give them open gym so they can probably play volleyball or like do what they want to do. And this is one of the reasons why most of them don't participate in gym class, because they just don't like the thing that they have to do. And I think this is all I have for tonight. Thank you. Oh, also, the Yonder Pouch. We do not like them. And also, so basically most of the students, they say, as a senior, they feel like they should not have to like having the Yonder Pouch, because it's very annoying, especially when we have to like do our college application. Most of the time we need to like connect to our account when it comes to FAFSA, because I remember my counselor, she wanted to help me with my FAFSA, but I didn't have my phone, so it was very difficult to like connect to my, to send the email to my, there's a code that we have to send to our email address or like our phone number, so it's very annoying to like do it because we don't have our phone. So that's a big concern. And then also because the students, they feel like they are not really safe and not being able to like talk with their parents or even like communicate with like somebody outside of school. It's like scary because it's like we do not have our phone. Like if something happened, what are we going to do? Like, and also, so even though they say if we need something, we can just call the school. I got transferred here to Trenton Central High School last year, and it was very challenging for me to actually reach out to the school because every single day that I called, they never answered. I even had to come to the Board of Education because it was very like challenging to communicate with them. So I feel like even like talking with them or even like reach out to the school or even call the school, it's not like the best option because they do not really like answer when we call them. And yeah, I think that's it. That's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Very well done. Nicole Backlund, TEA. She here? Is Nicole here? Nicole Backlund. She's not here. She's ill. Okay, we'll pray for her. I don't see Darren Freedom Green. Not here. Rachel Belson. Is she here? MLK middle school teacher.
All right. Good evening, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Rachel Belson. I work in one of the schools here teaching social studies. So today I am here because I care deeply about this district, about our students, and about the work we do every day. Teaching is not just my profession, it's my purpose. I show up prepared, committed, and ready to give my best to the children entrusted to us. However, I am also here to speak honestly about a reality that affects my ability to continue doing that work. I live with a seizure disorder. It is a condition that is manageable, but only with consistent access to prescribed medication. Without that medication, I cannot safely teach. Not because of lack of dedication or effort, but because seizures are unpredictable and dangerous, both for me and for the students in my care. This is why prescription insurance coverage is not a luxury for me. It is the difference between being able to stand in front of a classroom and being forced away from the career I love. Currently, our prescription coverage through OptumRx creates barriers to accessing necessary medication. These barriers, whether due to cost, coverage limitations, or approval delays, place educators with chronic medical conditions at risk. For many of us, this has led to difficult and unnecessary choices about our health. Beyond the physical danger, there's also an emotional impact to consider. Witnessing a seizure can be frightening and potentially traumatic for students, especially the younger children. No student should have to experience that fear, and no teacher wants to risk causing emotional distress in their classroom. Ensuring reliable access to medication protects not only my health, but the emotional well-being of the students we work so hard to support. As a district, we have the opportunity to move toward a prescription provider that better aligns with the needs of our employees. Moving away from OptumRx and adopting a plan with more comprehensive and reliable coverage would directly support teacher health, retention, and classroom stability. Providing better prescription coverage is just not an act of compassion. It is an investment in stability. It reduces absenteeism. It retains experienced teachers. It ensures continuity in classrooms. And most importantly, it allows educators like me to remain fully engaged, reliable, and safe. I am not asking for special treatment. I am asking for equitable access to the medical care that allows me to do my job well. When teachers are supported, students thrive. When educators are forced to choose between health and employment, everyone loses. This district has always stood for supporting its people and doing what is right for students. Improving prescription insurance coverage and choosing a provider that truly serves our educators affirms those values. I want to continue teaching here. I want to continue contributing, growing, and serving our students. With adequate prescription coverage, I can do exactly that. Thank you for listening, and thank you for considering a change that would make a profound difference, not just for me, but for the strength and sustainability of our schools.
Ms. Talithia Duncan? TA? You? Yes, you. Yeah.
Oh, y'all are doing something to I can't get my notes, but amen. Good evening, Talithia Duncan, Trenton Education Association. I am standing up here to reiterate what Ms. Belson said. If you recall, 2.5 years ago, I addressed this body in regards to moving to the state health benefits plan. I let you all know that while there were all these promises of saving all this money, better coverage, etc., that did not happen. Ms. Belson was receiving her seizure medicine under our old plan with a $15 copay. Under the state health benefits plan, last year, she received a message that they would no longer cover her, and it will cost $5,000 plus to get her medicine. Additionally, they sent her the medicine and charged her credit card $5,000 plus for something that she was originally paying $15 copay for. And at the time, Ms. Toller did reach out to Optimum. We reached out to NJEA, and we rectified that, and they told us in April that it would not be an issue. However, in October, Ms. Belson received another communication from OptumRx saying that they would not cover her seizure medicine, even though it was already documented that she needs the brand name, a specific brand, and that they were not going to cover it, and she was going to be responsible for $5,000 plus additionally. All right? So I will say, amen, Mr. Roll and his confidential secretary, along with myself and NJEA, got on the phone, and we were able to rectify it again 3 weeks ago, I believe. However, just like in April when we told it was rectified, it was not going to happen again, she was not taking her medicine on a daily basis because she was rationing it because she could not afford the $5,000 plus copay. So I am coming before this board to implore you to go back to a private medical plan like I did 2.5 years ago when we decided to go in a state health benefits plan, because what we said then is still true now, that although they said it was cheaper, et cetera, we have experienced 30+% increases every year since we have been under this plan. So I am asking that, so we don't have to have teachers like Ms. Belson to come up here to speak about how they were risking their health and their life to continue to teach our students, that as a district, if we care about well-being and wellness for the students, we must also feel that same way about the staff who are educating the students. It is not too late. We can go back to whoever our previous broker was, or we can find a new broker. When we started this process, when you let us know that you were going to go into the state health benefits plan, there were 272 districts in the plan. As of July 1st, 2025, there were 221 districts, which means 50+ districts have left the state health benefits plan because of the lies that they told that it was going to be more affordable and our people would have access to equal and or better health care, which we have shown and proven that that is not the case. At a previous board meeting, we talked to one of our members whose husband has a liver condition, who was receiving medication and waiting for a liver transplant, and this current plan was denying him life-saving liver medicine as well as brain medication, that he had already went through all the generics and formularies, et cetera, and this plan had denied them that as well. With the increase of the state health medical benefits program that has come out since October, it would it would behoove the district to explore going back to a private plan, and if not for the medical, absolutely for the prescription, which if you go back on record to the videos, I even said, if you want to go on the plan, okay, let's keep the medical since they have the same doctors and hospital networks, but the prescription plan we knew would be an issue. At least put us in a private plan so that we don't have people who clearly love the profession and are willing to risk their lives for our students in our community, because there's no way I would be rationing my seizure medication that is something that is keeping me alive. And like I said, I do want to give kudos to Mr. Roll and his confidential secretary, as well as Ms. Toller, because they went to bat for Ms. Belson in April, and they said, oh, she'll be fine. And then we are right back here again. And had I not seen Ms. Belson somewhere off the fly, I would have never known that she was skipping 3 and 4 days of medication so that she could continue to work while risking her health to teach our students. So please review the information. If you want the documentation from me that shows how many districts and other state entities that are jumping out of the state health benefits plan, I can share that information with you. It is public knowledge. And like I said, with the increase in premiums that we had not seen while we were under a private plan, it would behoove us as a district and a school community that says they care about the well-being of the students as well as the staff to investigate how we can go back so that everybody is receiving the health care and prescriptions and everything that they need to make sure that we can continue delivering services to our students and our parents in this community.
Thank you, Ms. Duncan.
Is my time up?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry.
Can I just tell you one more thing?
No.
Real quick.
No, you can't.
Please
I can't do it.
be careful about how you set the agenda. And I'm just saying this because Ms. Belson has worked all day. That student went to school all day. And after lengthy presentations and comments,
Gotcha.
they had to sit here 2 hours and 15 minutes to speak. So I'm just asking that you might want to rework the agenda so that if you really care about how the people in the community or the employees feel, that you will have opportunity to hear them in a timely fashion. Praise the Lord,
Thank you.
Reverend Gerald.
You're
Amen.
welcome. Take that advisement. Board discussion and consent and action on consent agenda. Do I have a motion? I got a first.
Second.
I have a first and second. Any questions on? I'm sorry. I jumped ahead. My bad. That's why you should have said something. Excuse me? Tina Clark, please. Thank you. Tina Clark. Is Tina here? I don't see Tina Clark here. Okay, she's not here. John signed up? He did? What's his last name? John? All right, John Forte, 5 minutes. Thank you. Good.
Good evening, members of the board, superintendent, and community members. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. I'm here as a proud member of the Trenton Education Association, and I'm proud high school teacher at Trenton Central High School. I want to speak about NJA's report on the state educators' health benefits plan. It's very comprehensive, but I think there are 10 key details that should persuade you to consider switching back to a private plan and moving away from the state educators' health benefits plan. So, Madam President Duncan talked about the premium increases, how they're unstable. We know that these rate increases are approaching 30%, and prescription drug costs, they're rising nearly 60% in some plans. So that's my first point, is just the prescription medication costs are out of control. Second, healthcare costs have far outpaced salaries in the last 10 years. So again, in the last 10 years, teacher salaries have gone up about 22%. And while this family plan under the SEHBP, it's increased more than 80% and is projected to increase 150% and in over 10 years. So again, if we want effective teachers in the classroom, I think it's important that we consider alleviating the financial stresses that prevent them from focusing on students each day. The third point is that, again, as President Duncan stated, districts are leaving the plan in large numbers. I don't have to repeat the numbers, but if this exit trend, if it increases on the current trajectory, this plan is going to collapse at the state level in the next year or two. And we need to have some sort of private plan, hopefully, to be ready to switch into. The fourth point is, this is a really significant one. The SEHBP is being mismanaged at the state level. It lacks state management, effective oversight, and the state has failed to implement long recommended reforms. So a key part of that is that the state is supposed to put vision, medical, and prescription benefits up for bid every 3 years. It's been about 6 or 7 years since they've done that. So you can imagine the lack of competition is only allowing some of these private insurance companies to jack up the prices, which has led to, in one part, the crisis where we're at. Prescription drug costs are out of control under this plan. So despite massive rebate programs, the prescription drug spending under this plan has come to $1.6 billion annually. And specific medications are driving this growth year. So I think a key part of it is that private plans can negotiate stronger pharmacy benefit managers. I'll try to break that down in a second, right? These are contracts. These are often evidence-based formulas, right? They're direct, they hold these companies directly accountable in theory. The SEHBP has failed to do this effectively. So the big thing right now is that locked into prescription drug contracts where we can't renegotiate and can't easily fix these costs, right? In a private plan, if the vendor isn't doing their job, right, we can easily demand changes or replace them. Under the current SEHBP design, we cannot do that. 6, the state's only solution is cost shifting because the state does not provide effective oversight. Thank you. Effective oversight over the SEHBP. What they've done essentially is just shift the burden onto the premiums and jack up premiums rather than do their job of providing oversight. 7, cash reserves are unstable. The SEHBP is supposed to have a cash reserve, like money in the bank, for these unexpected increases. And right now, there is not enough money in the bank of the SEHBP to account for such volatility in the premiums. And so again, each year, the premiums are going up 30%, right? Give or take. 8, private plans offer more local control. I'm sure each of you can speak to that, right? Having worked under the private plan several years ago. SEHBP districts can't do this, right? These decisions are centralized at the state of New Jersey and SLO. 9, again, the state's own task force under Governor Murphy warned of these problems in 2018, yet we still chose to adopt this plan. So those are just some of the key issues. And again, I think the bigger problem is that private health insurance in this country should not exist, right? Healthcare should be a right not just for teachers and staff, but also our students, the students we serve. And I hope that the board is going to advocate for some sort of public health insurance model. But in the meantime, we have to address the elephant in the room. The SEHBP is probably going to collapse in the next year or two. It's unsustainable. And I hope that the district leadership can take that into account. Thank you.
Amen.
Okay, that ends our public participation. Thank you so much for your comments. I will now move to board discussion and action on consent agenda. May I have a first? A motion, please. I've been moved. You have a second?
Second.
Probably moved and second. Any questions on the consent agenda? Roll call.
Gerald Trueheart.
Yes.
Denise Johnson.
Yes.
Gene Bowie.
Yes.
Addie Daniels-Lane.
Yes.
Alton Edwards.
Yes.
Yolanda Lopez.
Yes.
Larry Trailer.
Yes.
Jeannie Weeklam absent. Danelli De Leon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
So, board member comments. Any reports from New Jersey School Board Association? Any mentions or anything you want to share? Addie and then Denise.
I will just share very quickly that we did, as a district, host the Mercer County School Board Association meeting here last month, and that particular meeting focused on school budgets and the development process, and was shared by school business administrators and assistant business administrators from Mercer County districts. And also at that time, there was a presentation to the newly elected school board members. So that's all I need to share at this time. And thank the district for the support at that particular meeting.
Yes, okay. Thank you. So my report is a little longer, so bear with me. So the New Jersey School Board Association Delegate Assembly was held on November 22nd. Yolanda and I attended the assembly. There were 3 resolutions that were discussed and voted on. So resolution number 1 proposed new language for the adoption for inclusion in the NJSBA's manual. It was language that would place limitation on the period of time for which a board member or charter school trustee's criminal history would be reviewed, and that it supported language that would consider the nature of the crime committed before a board member or trustee could be permanently disqualified from service. So the school board or the district that proposed that resolution actually withdrew it, but there was a lot of discussion around that. But after all the discussion ended, the resolution was postponed indefinitely. So that was resolution number 1. Number 2, it proposed new policy language that supports the belief that universal free school meals should be available to all pre-K through grade 12 students in New Jersey, and that the language would be included in current policy. It was really odd to hear the attendees argue against that, but there was a lot of discussion. But ultimately, the resolution prevailed, so that was approved. And the last resolution proposed new policy language supporting the belief that local school boards of education should dedicate an equitable amount of instructional time to science education in elementary and middle schools relative to the amount of instructional time allocated to other subject areas. Again, there were a lot of people that did not support this resolution, so ultimately this resolution was postponed indefinitely, unfortunately. So after those three resolutions, we voted in a new president. His name is Michael Jacobs. He's from Richfield in Bergen County. So he's the new NJSBA president, and we also voted in for vice president for legislation resolutions. Her name is Bernadette D'Alessandro, and she's from Netcong in Morris County. So I just wanted to mention to the board members here, Yolanda brought up a good point about the voting, like the delegate. I'm the primary delegate and I'm voting on these resolutions, but we as a board actually haven't discussed what is being presented to the delegate assembly. So governance is actually going to talk about how we as a board may or may not discuss it, because there are a lot of moving parts with regards to the creation and the presentation of the resolutions, how soon that information is given to the districts, and when that information is voted on. So there's more information to come in the new year.
Okay, the last, second to the last meeting at the Four Cs, we had ICE give a presentation. It was actually the only presentation for that meeting. And I really walked away very disappointed, but I need to give you guys the information. And it is that they stated that if you look or speak as if English is not your first or primary language, that is enough cause for you to be stopped and to be asked for proof of legal status. So there's not much that we can do against that right now, but we need to be aware of it. So we just need to disseminate that information. And as far as of the mask, we asked about the masking. They did not give a satisfactory answer, just that they could and that they did, and they were going to do it for their protection. And that was basically the crux of that meeting.
Some government relations updates. On December 6th, the Legislative Policy Committee for the New Jersey School Board Association met. They went over the election updates from the most recent 2025 general election. They also gave us some legislative updates. The governor signed a pension re-enrollment law, which extends membership to the TPAF to 10 years after discontinued service, and up to 15 years for those who were laid off or had 10 or more years of continuous service upon voluntary termination. Another law that the governor signed was the Latino and Hispanic American History Instruction. That was signed September 29th, 2025. It requires districts to include instruction on Latino and Hispanic American history for grades K to 12 as part of New Jersey school learning standards and social studies. The governor conditionally vetoed the chronic absenteeism task force. There was some concerns that he had around that, along with the school audit delay. That was something we talked about last month when it came to extending the deadline for completions around school year audit for 24-25 school year. There was an absolute veto from the governor around pension boost for extracurriculars. And there are some bills that they're tracking in lame duck, which is a bill that would require NJDOE to make calculated state aid calculations publicly available for in a user-friendly manner, and a bill that would make DOE notify school districts on minimum amount of state aid by the first week of December. And then there was a conversation around school district consolidation as a discussion. The Senate Education Committee had a discussion on December 4th around that. That was, and there was a charter school reform bill that they're monitoring right now as well. So that was the legislative committee meeting updates.
Any other comments? Danelli? Yeah, everybody's good. Oh, Austin. My apologies, Austin Edwards.
If we're done with anything else. So one thing I just wanted to discuss, I was under the impression that we would be discussing absenteeism. I know that we're going to push that into January, but just due to the timing of this, I had to bring it up this board meeting, and it specifically had to deal with pending legislation in the New Jersey legislature. Overall, we're going to discuss it in January, but absenteeism is a hydra with many heads, right? And there are a lot of different reasons as to why students are not showing up every day. But one of the reasons that keep showing up, and I believe the superintendent alluded to it, is that we live in an age where there are ICE agents and roaming police agents that are going about door to door, neighborhood to neighborhood, and that is a legitimate barrier that are stopping people from feeling safe coming to school every day. I know that we passed our school board policy and reaffirmed the policy 5111A this past year at the beginning of the school year, but legislation that we need to just bring to the forefront is the Immigrant Trust Act, right? And it's a piece of legislation that's building off of the work of the Attorney General that when I was there working for the AG's office, the Immigrant Trust Directive, right? It's a piece of legislation that is supposed to build trust in the immigrant community and in our communities to make sure people feel safe going back and forth to school, going back and forth to the grocery store, going back and interacting with the law enforcement that's supposed to protect them and serve them day in, day out. So I just want to highlight that it's the bill number is S3672 and it's A4987. And this is a piece of legislation that has been stalled in our legislature since the fall of 2024. So for over a year, it's been sitting just on our legislature's desks. And if we do not act now, we literally have weeks before this bill goes away and the protection of the AG's office and the protection that we have pending currently disappears. And so all these issues that we're facing will exponentially just increase. So this is why I want to bring it up to the district that, it's in the forefront of our mind, in the forefront of our community, because these are the things that we need to support for our children, for our district. Thank you.
Yeah, just a question. So, at this state, at this time, can we just, as a district, send out letters to our parents with legislature contact information asking that they approve this act? Can we kind of push that? Right, so everyone, to all our stakeholders, to city, why not? No, really, why not? But I don't see it as political activity. I see more as advocacy for our parents and our students as a board. To make them aware.
So we can pass a resolution where the board says we're going to advocate for this. Like you guys can have that discussion, pass a board resolution to advocate on a particular topic.
Okay.
But encouraging parents to vote a certain way or act a certain way.
Well, it's not voting. they don't vote. It would be to
Hey, Lonnie,
ask.
we've had, he's already ruled on.
No, I know, but
that.
I want to.
We can certainly do, with a resolution work?
No. I'm asking the questions that
Right.
other people are going to ask.
Right.
Because we need to kind of brainstorm a way where we can inform our stakeholders of this situation.
Here's
and
my
that's what I'm
recommend-
trying to,
And here's my
with a
recommendation.
legal mind, trying to,
Here's my recommendation. Can we take that up in FACE and School Support Committee as an item with Larry as chair?
I think it's too late.
Yeah, I believe come definitely by January, before we can meet again for the next board meeting. Like this legislation would either pass or fail.
So
that's
at this point, the board can't advocate for parents to do anything, as council has indicated. But the council has indicated we can pass a resolution, and that's what we can do. But we can't do anything else. Or on our own, we can do whatever we want to do.
So may I ask for you to maybe create an ad hoc committee to quickly meet?
We can take it up. I would assign that to family, community engagement, and school support.
Okay, but before we meet, before our next meeting is my.
He'd have to call a meeting. Larry would have to call a meeting as the chair of that committee.
Would that be okay?
Whatever he wants, he can call a meeting anytime he wants. As chair of that committee, with the consent of the rest of the committee, he can call a meeting. So Larry's up to, as chair of the committee. Okay, thank you. Is that good?
Okay.
All right?
No, but we wouldn't pass, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Gonna move into executive session.
So my question is,
Executive session agenda. Anything else, board members? Everybody's good? Everybody's good, okay. I'm just making sure. Executive session resolution, whereas the Open Public Meeting Act authorized the public body to meet in executive session under certain limited circumstances, and whereas said law requires the board to adopt a resolution at the public meeting before it can meet in an executive session, and now therefore be it resolved by the board hereby determines that it is necessary to meet in executive session to discuss the following matters captioned: Memorandum of Agreement between TBOE and Trenton Administrative Supervisors Association, Memorandum of Agreement between Trenton Board of Ed and Trenton Education Association. Any discussion held by the board which need not remain confidential will be made public as soon as practicable. Minutes of the executive session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Action may be taken after returning in public session. Have a motion and a second to approve executive session. Roll call. Executive session.
Joe Trueheart.
Yes.
Denise Johnson.
Yes.
Jean Bowie. Addie Daniels-Lane.
yes?
Austin Edwards. Yes. Yolanda Lopez. Yes. Barry Trailer.
Yes.
Jeannie Weeklam absent. Danelli De Leon. Yes. Motion passed.
Executive session.
Y'all always do that. Y'all always.
All right, folks, we're back in public session. We're going to have the first motion on the agreement with TASA.
Austin?
I move that we accept the MOU between the board and the Trenton Administrators and Supervisors Association.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Roll call.
Gerald Trueheart?
Yes.
Denise Johnson?
Yes.
Jean Bowie?
Yes.
Addie Daniels-Lane?
Yes.
Austin Edwards?
Yes.
Yolanda Lopez?
Yes.
Larry Trailer?
Yes.
Jeannie Wheatland absent. Denali DeLeon?
Yes.
Motion to passed.
Thank you. Motion to accept the sidebar agreement with TEA.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, wait. Okay. Sorry. Properly moved and seconded. Roll call.
Oh, well, second too.
It was yes.
Gerald Trueheart?
Yes.
Denise Johnson?
Yes.
Jean Bowie?
Yes.
Addie Daniels-Lane?
Yes.
Austin Edwards?
Yes.
Yolanda Lopez?
Yes.
Larry Trailer?
Yes.
Jeannie Wheatland absent. Denali DeLeon?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Motion to adjourn. Probably moved and seconded. All in favor?
Yes.